Well, good morning. Welcome to Thought for the Day. I'm very aware that ever since we woke up to the news, we all woke up to the news on Thursday morning, our world has changed. We've been living with a war in Europe and no real idea of where it's going and where it will end. I'm also very aware that in that time that's not been mentioned on our St Albans Thought for the Day. The reasons last week were quite practical. Thursday's Thought for the Day had been recorded by Terry the day before, and as it happens, mine for Friday I'd recorded a bit earlier since I was away for a few days. But even without those things, it's very hard, isn't it, to know what to say, what to think in the face of just terrible news each morning of attacks and deaths and fighting in a country that just a few days ago looked really very like ours. And even when we tried to think about it, it's hard to know what to say. I hope Terry won't mind me sharing with you that he tried to record a Thought for the Day about the situation in Ukraine for yesterday, and he just found he didn't know what to say. He tried and it just wouldn't come. And so I today, as I do touch on the subject, really just wanted to look at the range of different reactions that we have to this extraordinary and terrible situation. I mean, the first one we see very widespread is the condemnation of it. The desire to say this is wrong and it shouldn't be happening. I spent some time yesterday looking at various charities to see who's working there and who we could encourage people to give to support and support humanitarian work in Ukraine. And not many charities have the ability to do work there at the moment. All their websites had something condemning the war, condemning the effect it was having on the people of that country. So that's one reaction, and that reaction we see too in even those who'd previously been quite supportive of the Russian government. I read an article this morning about a number of German politicians who'd wanted to argue that they should make friends with the Russian government and Putin was someone they could deal with. An article about how they're all having very much second thoughts and changing their views, admitting they misjudged the situation. So there's that reaction of saying it's wrong, it shouldn't be happening. And there's another reaction we saw yesterday. Somebody posted on the St Albans website, is the church doing anything? What can we do to send supplies of medicines and toiletries and food and all the things that people need to that war-torn country? There's that desire to help. It's a worthy desire, and there are channels to do that. I think the British Red Cross have channels into Ukraine. They've been working there for the last 8 years, so they do have channels, and we can give. But if we're giving money to them, we can do our bit to try and get desperately needed supplies to people who are impacted by the war. So there's that desire to help. Then another reaction I read about yesterday was just absolute horror. People, particularly as Putin started talking about nuclear weapons. Someone said they just felt sick inside at the possibility that weapons of mass destruction could be used in and around that war. There's a sense of revulsion. And all of those, they're very valid reactions, aren't they? It's right to say unequivocally it is wrong to launch an unprovoked attack on another country, to fire great harmful missiles at places where people live. That is wrong. It is wrong to do it. Wrong. It's right to say that it's wrong. It's right to want to help. That's compassion coming out of our hearts. I think it's right too, in a way, to be revolted and horrified, not to say, oh, it's a long way away, it doesn't matter, but to say, no, this affects me. That it's okay to feel like that. That's the way you feel. Don't try to suppress that or deny it. Bring it, pour that out to God along with all your other feelings. And maybe there is one other reaction, and I'm just feeling my way towards this, that Christians might want to have in this situation of great uncertainty. Uncertainty as to where it might end, uncertainty to where it might escalate. And that is to be people of hope. We believe, we trust in a God who loves us, who loved us enough to come to this world and die for us on a cross. We believe and trust in a God who has all of history in his hands. We believe and trust in a God who says that although things will get bad because of the evil in human hearts, that if you cling on to me, he says, if you hold on to the end, you will be saved. So in the middle of all the confusion, the horror, maybe we can cling on and be people of hope, not be drawn entirely ourselves down into the despair and the worry. Yes, we may feel sick in our stomach at it, but even in that, let's hold on to the hope and let's be people of hope in the middle of a very, very, very confusing time. We don't know where this particular battle will lead, but we do know that at the end, at the very end, God wins. And let's cling to him and reflect that in our world. So God bless you through today, and we'll talk again later in the week.